You know that strange feeling when the day gets away from you before it even really starts? You wake up, reach for your phone, tell yourself you'll do the important thing later, and then later turns into tired, hungry, distracted, and somehow it's midnight again. Scroll, snack, promise, repeat. And the uncomfortable question underneath all of that is simple. Am I actually living my life, or just moving through the easiest parts of it? Here's the truth. Most hard habits do not fail because you are lazy. They fail because the reward is too far away. So in the next few minutes, I want to show you a calmer way to make hard habits easier to start. Not with hype, not with fake discipline, just by attaching one clean reward to one needed action so your brain stops treating the habit like pure sacrifice. And stay with me, because near the end, I'll give you one small tomorrow plan that can make this click in a real practical way. Section 1. Stop asking delayed rewards to do all the work. Going to the gym pays off later. Studying pays off later. Saving money pays off later. Cleaning your space pays off later. But your brain is standing in the present, and the present keeps offering louder things. A video, a snack, a soft couch. One more minute of comfort. That is why good intentions can feel so fragile at night. You are not choosing between good and bad in some dramatic moral battle. You are choosing between now and later, and now is usually easier to feel. So when a habit keeps dying at the starting line, do not immediately blame your character. Ask a better question. What does this habit reward me with right away? Because if the answer is nothing, your brain will keep looking somewhere else. Section 2. Use anticipation on purpose. This matters because people do not only move toward pleasure, they move toward expected pleasure. The thought of a good feeling can be enough to get you off the couch. That means the goal is not to trick yourself with something extreme. It is to create a small pull, a reason to begin. Maybe your walk only happens when you get to listen to that podcast you save for later. Maybe your cleaning session starts because there is a favorite album waiting in your headphones. Maybe the first page of studying feels less cold because there is a coffee you actually look forward to. Nothing magical, just a small bridge between effort and reward. And once your brain learns that something good is attached to the task stops feeling quite so dead. Section 3. Bundle the reward. This is where the idea becomes practical. Instead of saying, I should walk more, say, I only listen to my favorite show while I walk. Instead of saying, I need to clean the kitchen, say, I put on music I like only when I clean. Instead of saying, I should handle my paperwork, say, I make the coffee first, then I sit down with the bills for 20 minutes. Now the hard habit is no longer standing alone. It is attached to something your brain already wants. That matters because repetition is easier when starting feels less like a punishment. You are not trying to become a different person. You are making the next action feel worth the effort. And that tiny shift can change a lot. A walk becomes something you look forward to. Folding laundry stops feeling like a small defeat. Planning your week becomes a ritual instead of a chore. Section 4. Keep the reward clean. This is the part people often miss. Not every reward helps. Some rewards quietly cancel the habit you were trying to build. If you work out and then turn the reward into a fast food free-for-all every time, that may not support the goal. If you are trying to focus and the reward is 30 minutes of accidental scrolling that turns into 2 hours, that is not really a reward. That is a trap wearing a nicer name. So choose something that makes the next repetition easier, not harder. A cold glass of water after a workout, a favorite podcast on a walk, a warm drink while you plan your week, a good playlist while you clean, a small, honest pleasure that does not create a new problem. When the reward is clean, the habit stays believable. And believable habits are the ones people actually repeat. Section 5. You are not a machine. This is the deeper truth people do not hear often enough. A lot of advice fails because it assumes you can bully yourself into loving discomfort forever. But humans are not built that way. We respond to immediate signals. We notice progress. We need reasons that show up quickly enough to matter. So if your current system depends on endless self-denial, it is probably too fragile. Design matters more than willpower. Look around your life. Is your desk set up to invite focus or to invite distraction? Are your shoes by the door or hidden in a closet? Is your phone in bed with you or across the room? Is your environment making the right thing easier, or is it making every good choice feel like a climb? A calm system beats a heroic mood. That is the shift. Not be stronger. Instead, ask, how do I make starting feel natural? Section 6. Use it where life already feels heavy. This is where the idea becomes useful in real life. If paperwork drains you, pair it with a drink you like and a 20-minute timer. If studying feels impossible, make the first hour come with coffee and silence, or coffee and one specific playlist. If your kitchen always becomes a source of stress, let music come out only when the sponge does. If weekly planning feels like a burden, turn it into a Sunday reset with a pen, a notebook, and one calm cup of tea. The goal is not to make every hard task exciting. It is to make beginning less expensive. Because once starting feels easier, momentum starts doing some of the work for you. And momentum is powerful, not loud, just steady. Section 7. Decide tomorrow, not someday. Do not leave this as an interesting idea. Pick one habit. 1. Then pick one clean reward that you genuinely want. Not a reward that sabotages you. Something small, immediate, and specific. Maybe tomorrow you walk for 20 minutes only while listening to that one podcast. Maybe you clean the kitchen only while your favorite music plays. Maybe you sit down with your study notes only after making the coffee you love. Maybe you do your weekly planning only at the same table, with the same drink at the same time. Make it so concrete that your brain can picture it before the day starts. Because the future is not shaped by one dramatic decision. It is shaped by what you repeat when nobody is applauding. And this is the overlooked part. The goal is not to force yourself into endless effort. The goal is to make returning easier. That is how habits become less heavy. Not by becoming perfect, but by becoming approachable. One day, maybe months from now, you will look back and realize the life you built came from these small pairings. The shoes by the door, the notebook beside the coffee, the walk with the podcast, the clean desk before the work, the habit that no longer felt like punishment because you gave your brain a reason to begin. So here's the final perspective shift. You do not need a bigger personality, you need a better starting point. What is one hard habit you would make easier if it had the right clean reward attached to it? If you want, write your one habit and one reward down tonight. Make tomorrow easier before tomorrow arrives.